This video is going to be a simple overview of the gradebook. Many of the items here will be discussed further in other videos, so this is simply an overview. The gradebook is the most common requested feature by students and as you learn, so it is something you should think thoroughly through about adding to your class. I can access the grades directly from here. For students, you want to make sure that you go to the quick set block in the drawer and make sure the students can see gradebooks yes. That is one of the most common help desk tickets at the beginning of the semester where faculty have forgotten to choose yes. The student goes in and can't see their grades. So if I go into grades, this is my overview of the grades. This is where I can see both my students and what they've graded. If I have edit mode on, I will see little edit blocks for each of these. This is not the best way to enter grades. I would recommend not turning edit mode on in this main grader report. Each item has a single view that you can edit. So if I click on this, I can turn edit mode on and I'll be able to change items here. I can also, if I go back to the grader report, I have the same type of edit for individual students, which will show all the grades for that individual student. I can turn editing on and be able to change all the grades for a specific student across there. So that is kind of the overall report. Additionally, we have a grade history. This is where I can select a user. So if I select this user and all graded items, it will show me everything that they have graded and anything that has been changed and who has changed it and how it was changed. So this is a great place to look for if you're having an issue and you're not sure how a grade got in. The grade history has a great report on how those things were altered. Additionally, we can do single view. That brings us into the same view as either clicking here for an activity or clicking here for a student. So we get the same options if we go to single view. Grade summary will show me all of my graded items within the course and what their average is for the course. Gradebook setup is where we will go to change not only the aggregation method for the course. So if I go here in this top gray bar, I can hit settings and I can change my aggregation methods. This is how that the grades are going to be averaged or manipulated. There are videos on each of these, so you can go look at that in more depth. If I go back to the setup, this is where I can add a grade item. If I want a placeholder in my gradebook, just where I can put grades in for maybe something that was turned in physically. I can also add a category here, and a category, here's a category that's been added, is a collection of grade items. So there are 2 items within this. Always watch for a category, there should be an indentation for the items that are included in that category. So this item, even though it's below that, is not being included in this average notice because it is not indented. So that's a quick way to kind of tell if things are within categories. Additionally, we can come down here and course grade settings. There are some pieces that we can put into this to change. The main ones that most faculty change here are the overall decimals, how many decimal places to set. I typically set to 0, but you may want more or less decimals being displayed, and the grade type displayed. So the default is the real grade, that would be the number that's being calculated, but you can also do percentage, and you can also do letter grade. Note, letter grade is different than scales, and we'll talk about that in a second. If you see one that's like real and percentage, so percentages in brackets, it will show both the raw grade and the percentage. We can also show the raw grade and the letter, the percentage and the real, the percentage and the letter, and so forth. So that will show how those items are displayed in the gradebook. That's the main one that most faculty change here. Additionally, if we hit Save Changes and move on, we can go to Grader Report. Remember, Grader Report is this page here. So if I come down here for Preferences, this is where I can change some of the things on that page, how they show. The main one that faculty change here are the students per page. So if I have 35 students in the class, I want to make sure this is at least 35. Or maybe I have 100 students in my class and I only want to see them 20 students at a time. I can change how many students are being shown in that Grader report on the screen at the same time. So this is where you would go to say change that. Additionally, we have scales, and I would be very careful of using these, especially the letter scale. It does not calculate the way you want. Scales are really only good if you're doing no calculations to your grade. You just want some simple feedback. I would not recommend it. Even for items that I'm only going to give credit or no credit, I would give them a point value so that it can figure into the calculation of the course, and then set it at the highest if they did it, set it at the lowest if they didn't. I would stay away from scales. That is different than letter grades. Letter grades are based on the percentages calculated in the course, whether that's using points in summative or weighted means or means. It will display a letter based on these numbers, and I can edit those numbers. So this is the default for the ASU schedule. This is what ASU puts out as the default letter grade schedule. But if I want, I could change this. I could say anything above a 90 is an A. Maybe I don't give A minuses. So as the faculty member, you can go through here and edit this the way that you see fit. But again, that's not a scale. That is how the gradebook is displaying the number that is calculated based on mathematics. Additionally, there is an import. So if you are a Excel person or a database person and you want to calculate your grades outside of As You Learn, you can import them back in so that students can see them. Or if you have items that are, say, graded with bubble sheets or something like that, you are getting grades from some other source, you can import those in here. And again, there's a video that talks about that in depth. There is also an export. Export is a great way to get a list of your students' email addresses and names. It's a great way to get a Excel sheet in order to import back into the gradebook. And always start here at the top with the export as, and I tend to want to use Excel, but you could also do a plain text file. And then you can control what's being downloaded. So you could say select none and just do the total, or none of these, and it would simply download the students' names and email addresses. So those are some items that you can export. Please keep in mind Gradebook is the most requested by students, and that there are in-depth videos for many of the items, for instance, aggregation types, available on the help pages. Thank you.